Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. I'm at a different location today. This is not my kitchen, and I'm using a commercial kitchen for an event that's coming up, but I have to make one batch of gluten-free cookies, and I wanted to share this recipe with you because they are so incredibly good. I promise whoever eats these will not detect that they are gluten-free. They're made with oat flour, oatmeal, there's chocolate chips, some walnuts in them. But if you're allergic to nuts or there's a nut allergy present, then you can always use something like sunflower seeds or just omit them all together. But let's go in, and it'll be noisy in this kitchen, so I apologize for that. Sometimes a lot of activity going on, so again, the noise level might be a little compromised, but I want you to have this recipe, so let's go in and make some oatmeal, chocolate chip, walnut, gluten-free cookies. Okay, I didn't want you to miss that on anything. I know the lighting's kind of odd in here. I've got this big pot rack above me with a bunch of big giant stock pots and stuff in it. So I'm going to take 2 sticks of unsalted butter. I'm going to start with that. There'll be a little bit of a time lapse here that I'll turn the camera off, but it's just because I'm softening this butter. I'm going to put this over there on the griddle that always has a pilot light going on it. So we're just taking our 2 sticks of butter, which is 1 cup, and we're going to get this softened. So we'll be back in just a bit. Okay, so next thing we want to do while our butter is softening over on the stove on top of that warm griddle, I have 2 cups of sugar in here. This is the raw sugar. I've talked to you before about the Zulka Morena. It's not a bleached sugar, so this is just natural cane sugar. And I have 4 tablespoons of molasses in here. I buttered this cup thinking it might just slide right out, but it didn't. So I'm going to have to scrape it out. So what I'm using the molasses for is because this is in place of 2 cups of dark brown sugar. So if you don't have dark brown sugar, don't go to the store and buy dark brown sugar. You're just going to use plain sugar and molasses. Now, if you like a lighter brown sugar, then only use 2 tablespoons of molasses, but I like a dark brown sugar. It's going to make your cookies a little more chewy because this is what's called an invert sugar that does not get hard, the molasses is. So it's going to keep these cookies nice and soft. All right, just wanted to show that step to you. I didn't want to come back and go, okay, I have this in the cup and you not see what I'm doing. So that's just 2 cups of sugar, 4 tablespoons of molasses. This is going to equal 2 cups of brown sugar. So we'll be back in just a bit. Okay, our butter is softened, and I'll let you take a look at that. That's what it looks like. Put it back on here. Since I'm not in my kitchen, this is not my mixer. Surprise! So, it's a little bit awkward handling a different mixer than what you're used to. I'm putting the 2 cups of sugar and the 4 tablespoons of molasses in here. And we're going to combine that with the sugar by beating it until it's nice and fluffy. I have my oven preheating to 325, and I'm hoping it's at 325 by the time I stick the cookie sheets in there. But this is not a convection oven, and I'm used to cooking with convection, so a little different. All right. Okay, you know I'm not finished beating this. I'm just scraping it down. Again, sorry for the noise. Every refrigerator needs to be running full speed ahead while we're in here baking. Sometimes I forget how loud it is when I'm working in here, especially in the summertime. You've heard me talk about cooking for day camp, and I don't realize how loud it is in here. Then I get in my car, and even though it's about 140 degrees in my car, I just sit there and relish in the silence because it's so quiet outside in my car. All right, I'm gonna turn this on to beat, and while that's beating, I'm going to break 2 eggs into a container, so we'll add that to it in just a minute. Okay, we're back, and I accidentally just put an egg in there without showing you. You know what an egg looks like going in, but we're going to put another one in there. This is super light and creamy now. You can tell when that color goes from being a darker brown to kind of a beige that it's incorporating a lot of air into it, and it is a nice consistency. So we have 2 eggs that just went in, and we need a teaspoon of vanilla, so I'm just going to eyeball this. Okay, I've scraped this down a couple of times. My beater in just the right position. We're going to now add, okay, this is 3½ cups of freshly ground oat flour. I put my whole grain oats that looked like that. Put them in my high-speed blender, and now it is oat flour. So very light and airy. Now remember, this has no wheat flour in it, so it's not like the gluten's going to build up because when the gluten in the wheat flour comes in contact with water, it starts building up that gluten in it, and it becomes a really strong factor, and it makes your cookies real tough. This doesn't have gluten in it, so guess what? We can beat it till tomorrow, and it's not going to get any tougher. So we'll turn that on just a bit to get it incorporated. As soon as that gets mixed in, this is a cup of the whole grain oats. These are just called old-fashioned oats in your store. These are organic ones. I'm going to need a teaspoon of baking soda. And a teaspoon of salt. Just let that mix in together. We only have 2 more ingredients left. Okay, here's our next ingredients. We have chopped walnuts. Just make sure they're not in too big of pieces. I want to kind of eyeball it and make sure there's no pieces of shell in there, even though I'm sure they wouldn't do that on purpose. I don't want anybody to bite into a hard substance and hunt me down. So the reason I'm making these cookies is because we are having a banquet of sorts, and I'm making soups and desserts and breads, but I want to be able to offer a gluten-free option for those who want a dessert, but they can't have the other one I'm making, which is pumpkin bars, and I would be doing a video on it, but I'm making 6 batches of it. I don't think you want to look at that. That's a little overwhelming. So maybe I'll do it on a smaller scale at some point and put that in the lineup for videos to share with you. And of course the recipe, because it is quite the fabulous recipe. All right, next thing we're gonna add to it, after I cut the bag open, is organic chocolate chips. If you've not tried these from Kroger, ooh, buddy. Yeah, make sure you don't eat one before you start putting them in, because guess what? You'll eat the whole bag. You won't put any in. I just sneak one to my friend who is across the table watching me and smiling at me. All right, we're going to stir this up, and then we're going to dish these out onto our baking sheet. And that's all there is to that. Unplug it, and we'll get our cookie sheet now. So we're just going to line our baking sheet in parchment here. And let's see, I'm going to scoop this back. I'm going to turn this down a bit. So that'll be visible. Oh wait, that's not what I want to do. Again, not my mixer. I feel so clumsy with these things. Ah, I feel so proud. I got it off. I'm a genius. All right, so here's the cookie dough scoop we're going to use. And I won't, of course, video this whole segment of putting them on the baking sheet, but I just want you to see how easy these come out of this scoop. All right, so it looks like that. I'm going to finish these up, and then we'll pop these in the oven at 325. And when they come out, I'll show them to you and see what they look like when they come out of the oven. So we'll be right back. Okay, here's our cookies. I want you to get a look at them. They flatten out just a little bit, but I'm telling you, I've had these several times before, and I've even given them to groups of people, and nobody had a clue that they were gluten-free. They just taste like good oatmeal chocolate chunk cookies with walnuts in them. So I think they're fabulous. Okay guys, thanks for joining us. And like I said, even though I'm not in my kitchen, we were in a kitchen, and I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you give it a try, especially if you have one of those friends that are gluten-free and you just can't seem to find a good cookie recipe. This is your good cookie recipe. So you got it here from me. Hope to see you again real soon. We look forward to sharing something with you then. Bye, guys.